Introduction. On November 18, 2015, 5 days after the Paris bombings, Bob Dylan performed in Madrid. Armed guards were posted at the venue. News accounts reported that Dylan had insisted on this increased security. Dylan offered a public statement explaining that he had not personally requested armed protection. Also in November, Sony released several iterations of a treasure chest, the heretofore unreleased tapes of Dylan's 1965 to 1966 recording sessions, the 12th volume of the voluminous Bootleg series. This hoard of hoards comprises 18 compact discs and has been offered in an extravagant limited edition package for a list price of $599. Thus, in less than 1 month, Bob Dylan's actions are commented on in the context of today's grievous world, and Bob Dylan's 50-year-old recording detritus is avidly consumed and examined. Go back a couple of months, and Bob Dylan is in the running for the Nobel Prize for Literature, and selling half a minute of charm to IBM for use in a television ad, the latest in an ongoing, perhaps entirely cynical, late-career flirtation with the lucrative world of advertising. Musicians selling products became commonplace by the 1980s. Even Willie Nelson was doing it, though admittedly he owed money to the IRS. And anyway, comedian Bill Hicks, who otherwise declared that musicians who deigned to whore themselves to commercial advertising were immediately off the artistic roll call, was all too willing to give Willie a pass given the circumstances. I used to care, Dylan sings in his sole-recorded Y2K output, a contribution to the soundtrack for Michael Douglas' film Wonder Boys 2000, which concerns an aging boomer staring down mortality. But things have changed. In fact, once a counterculture icon, Bob Dylan has a long and storied history as a corporate shill, licensing his 1964 song, The Times They Are Changin', to an accountancy firm, 1994, Canada's Bank of Montreal, 1996, and insurance conglomerate Kaiser Permanente, 2005. More recently, he sold the rights to such iconic songs as 1973's Forever Young to Pepsi in a reprehensible 2009 Super Bowl ad that used a horrendous Will.i.am rap sampling of Dylan's song played over a predictable montage of 1960s Dylan footage. Dylan has also made appearances in commercials, including Cadillac in 2007, selling environmentally unfriendly, boomer-marketed Escalades, no less, and notoriously in a 2004 Victoria's Secret commercial that made use of Dylan's song of romantic defeat, Lovesick, from Time Out of Mind, 1997, made all the more interesting due to a comment Dylan made nearly 40 years earlier during a widely seen, lengthy 1965 television conference, filmed during the height of Dylan's countercultural relevance, where Dylan jokingly told one interviewer that someday he would like to sell women's underwear. Thus, what began in the 1960s as a bit of surrealistic Allen Ginsberg-inspired irony apparently transformed into a resigned post-9/11 cash grab, a cynicism that is difficult to reconcile with the sincerity and authenticity of his recorded music during this era, with its tangible reverence for that old, weird America, in Greil Marcus's phrase. As ever with Dylan, it remains difficult to determine if this recent willingness to participate in corporate America, an institution which he once decried as an affront to the authenticity of the American tradition, is in fact a tongue-in-cheek critique of the times in which we live, that the boomers who once so tenaciously clung to his every word as a new gospel meant to free them from the chains of oppression were now willing participants in their own oppression, if not actively responsible for it. Is Dylan, in his own not-so-subtle way, criticizing or chastising his generation for their apparent hollow, self-centered idealism, their empty rhetoric of free love? Is this the same irony and surrealistic jest that infused his mid-1960s persona?
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.